Sound growth, superior condition, greater endurance, faster times. You select your performance objectives and Nutrina's Vitality Premium horse feeds will deliver. After all, the experts at Nutrina understand that it takes superior nutrition to bring out the best in every horse. And that's why you'll find more high-quality nutrition in every bag of Vitality, all carefully balanced to help maximize equine performance during heavy training and competition, or when your horse is still young and growing. Premium sources of energy, uniquely balanced amino acid levels, key vitamins and minerals, and guaranteed lysine levels to enhance protein utilization. Vitality's controlled carbohydrate levels also help minimize the risk of nutritionally related problems. When performance counts, select Vitality Premium Horse Feeds, only from Nutrina, the industry leader in advanced equine nutrition.
Hi, I'm Josh Lyons. This is my horse Flash. Today in this video we're going to talk about sliding stops and how it pertains to your training. There are several things about horse training that's unique. The neatest thing about it is everything is a go or a stop. Everything you can find in horse training, whether it's a problem or not, is related to going and stopping. So the time where we need to spend the most time is working on going and stopping. So I'm going to give you some exercise to show you how to improve your horse's stop, also by improving your horse's collection and softness on that bit. So if you're ready, I'm ready, and we'll go ahead and get started. Now the first exercise, we were talking about how everything relates to going and stopping. The first exercise, a stop, people think that a stop would be just riding forward, picking up both reins, and stopping. And that would be considered a stop. And that's how people look at a stop. A stop is a lot more than that. A stop can be stop going right and go left, stop going left and go right. There's several areas of stop. This is just one area of a stop. So what we'd want to do is figure out what's the easiest place to start. Where would be the easiest place to control my horse? And it would be as the horse is going forward. So I could use serpentines to work on my stop. And what I mean by that is I'll work on serpentines that say stop going right, or stop going right and go left, or stop going left and go right. So I'll take my horse, especially if your horse is excited or has lots of energy or movement, we want to get the horse moving and say, let's go right. Now stop going right and let's go left. Now stop going left and let's go right. So all this time what I'm doing is I'm working on trying to control my horse, not trying to contain him or contain his energy, just control him where I can work on just changing directions. Every time I change directions, I'm stopping something. I'm stopping him from going one way or going another. So this is the best place to start your stops is by working on serpentines in just a change of directions. While I'm doing this, at first all I'm doing is just kind of changing directions. I really don't care where his head is or how he changes, just change directions. But as I get further along into the exercise, then what I want to do is I want to stay there in that turn until I feel his nose start to soften up. And then I'll release it and then change directions. So every time I do these exercises, or every time I pick up this rein, I'm asking him to improve something and make something better. So as I'm turning here, I'm picking it up, waiting for that nose to soften up, release it, let go, and change directions. Soften his nose up, right there, release it, change directions. Soften his nose up, right about here, release it, and change directions. It's important that I don't let go of that rein until he softens up or changes that direction. Because again, every time I release that rein, I tell him that whatever he was doing at that moment was correct. So right here, he's not really heavy, but he's not softening up enough, so I'll wait there and then release it and then go. Now you can see, as soon as I release it, what he wants to do is slow down. He wants to slow down to stop. So what I'm doing is, by doing this, is I'm teaching the horse how to stand still. I'm teaching him how to stand still by making him go. Everything, again, falls into that going and stopping. I can't get my horse to go across the trail. I can't get my horse to go into the arena. I can't get my horse to go away from his buddy horse. I can't get my horse to go down the trail. I can't get my horse to go into the trailer. I can't get my horse to stop bucking. I can't get my horse to stop rearing, stop biting, stop kicking. Everything's going and stopping. So where I need to spend the most time is working on going and stopping. So right now I'm working on going and stop and change directions. Go, stop going right, go left. Stop going left and go right. So I want to do a lot of change directions. I don't want to release the rein and let him go and travel like this and go halfway across the arena and then pick up the rein and say change directions. I want to immediately, once I release this rein, change to this side. So do this side, immediately once I release it, change to this side. I don't want the horse going straight. I don't want the horse at all going straight or me not picking up that rein. I want me always asking him to do something. There are two types of riders. There's an active rider and a reactive rider. An active rider is what I'm doing right now. It's somebody that's always asking the horse to do something. Those horses you'll see are safe. They're not getting bucked off, or that horse is not thinking about kicking or running off with him because they're asking the horse to do something. A reactive rider is one up there waiting for the horse to make a mistake. They're waiting for the horse to make a mistake so they can correct him or tell him, no, don't do that, or waiting to see if he is going to make a mistake. I don't want to give him that opportunity, because if he does make a mistake, then I have to correct him. So I want to become an active rider, be up here and working and moving him around, back and forth, soften his nose up, change directions. So this would be where I'd be starting on my stops on any horse. For one, I'm getting him more responsive to the bit. I'm getting him to where he wants to slow down, so when I finally ask him to stop, I can get him to actually stop and stand still. Again, we can't make the horse stand still. We can't make him stand still. Our whole idea is learning how to build control and keep in control of our horse. Well, if we just understand that we can't make him stand still, and I can prove that to you. If you tie the horse up, will that make him stand still? Can the horse still move when he's tied up? Sure, you can see him pull back, sway back and forth, pull back, rip the fence off. He can guarantee you if he wants to move, he can move. But what if I put him in cross ties? That'll make him stand still. Sure, you've seen a horse in cross ties. Flip over backwards or pull back or run through the cross ties. What about if I put him in a two-horse trailer? Therefore, he can't move for sure. It's impossible for him to move. Now, you've heard about him coming over backwards in the trailer. So you're telling me there's no possible way that I can make this horse stand still. So in order for me to gain control, if he's moving at 2 miles an hour, I take him to 3. So then what I'm doing is the movement has now become my idea, not his. So if he's moving here and he starts to walk off, I don't want to sit there and say, hey, wait, ho, and try to contain it. If he moves, then I want to say, okay, then let's speed up and let's work on something else. Let's work on this over here. We can definitely improve you softening on the bit, your turns, maybe your elevation through his shoulders. We can make this better. So it's always an opportunity. It's not a disadvantage. It's an opportunity for you to work on something that needs worked on. And then when you're all done, then you say, okay, would you like to stand still? So again, I'm not trying to correct him for moving. I'm just taking it as another opportunity to fix or improve something else I have. So that would be where I'd start my stops, is just changing directions. I do that for about 20 minutes twice a day. And just really get him changing directions and fluid turns and softening that nose up. And then you're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, now for your next exercise, we've worked on serpentines and just changing directions. Now I want to move on to my stop, to actually make my horse stop. Well, again, I got to break it down, make it simple. I can't make the whole horse stop, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one foot stop. And how I'm going to do that is use that by disengaging his hindquarters. Now, this is the engine of your horse, right here. The hindquarter is the engine. So what I want to do is learn how can I control this engine. If you look at a train, when it starts moving, everything from behind is pushing it. So even if you put the front brakes on, it pushes that train. So what that train has to be able to do is get the hindquarter out of the way. So that's what I'm going to do with this, with the horse here, is I'm going to control this hindquarter and just start driving the hindquarter back and forth each direction. And how I'll do that is by picking up one rein. As I'm going forward, I pick up one rein, and I'm going to hold pressure on this rein until that hindquarter moves over. And I'm going to release it and let him go. Now, if you watch, as I'm doing this, at first, he's still moving quite a bit. I release it and then let him walk forward. But if you watch his front foot, if I'm on my right side here, my right rein, you watch his right front foot, when he moves his hips over, it stops for at least one step. And I release it and let him go. So what I'm doing is I'm stopping a foot for just a second, just a period of time. So I pick up this rein, I'm going to stop the left front foot right there and then let it walk forward. So all I want to do is I want it to hesitate. Just hesitate. So here we go again. Watch the right front foot right there and release it and walk back out. Now, there's two things that happen in this. One is you'll get to where when you pick up this rein, you move the hips over, and as soon as you release it, right here, the horse stops. Now, that's not a mistake. That's a good thing. But what I'm going to do to flash here is I want to keep going on it. So when I pick up the rein and I move the hip over and that foot stops, I want to drive him back out with both legs evenly and make him keep walking forward. So I move the hip over and then drive him forward. Pick up this rein, move his hip over, and then drive him forward. Pick up this rein, move his hip over, a little bit more, and then drive him forward. Pick up this rein, move his hip over, right there, and drive him forward. Pick up this rein, move his hip over, and then drive him forward. Now what I'll do is I'll stop driving him forward until he wants to stop. So I'll just keep moving the hip here, and then release it. So I can feel him when he wants to stop. So I'll just keep moving the hip over, then I'll release it and say, okay, now you can stand still. So this will also help me teach my horse how to stand still. If he starts to move, I'll go right back to disengaging the hindquarters and keep moving those hindquarters so I get them softer and softer. While you're moving those hindquarters, you're also working on that bit, teaching him to respond to that bit. In a snaffle bit, it is important that we understand that how that bit works. This isn't a miracle bit. There's nothing miracle about it. What this bit does is it doesn't keep you any safer than any other bit. It just picks. The only unique thing about this bit is it allows you to pick where you're going to die. It lets you pick the spot your horse is going to blow up in. The neat thing about this bit is if my horse is going to blow up here, I pick it up and say, I don't like that spot over here. Let's do it over here. He says, all right, I'm going to blow up now. And I say, oh, wait a second. That spot over there looked better. Let's try this spot over here. So I go over here, and he says, I'm going to blow up. And I say, oh, wait a second, I changed my mind. This spot over here was better. And all I do is if I pick enough spots in my arena for him to blow up, pretty soon he decides that it wasn't that important, that he didn't want to blow up anyway. So then the unique thing about this bit is it allows me to work his head side to side and pick my spots where this horse is going to blow up. If I pick enough spots, again, he'll decide that it's not that important. So there's nothing special about this bit, just the fact that it allows you to pick your spot where you're going to blow up at. The thing is, when I'm working with this bit, it's a one rein bit. If I pick up two reins on this bit on a horse that is pulling or bolting or taking off, all I'm going to do is he's going to raise his head. I'm going to pull his cheeks back so he can smile. That's all that's going to happen. So it's important that I have this lesson, that if my horse is taking off, that I reach down and I pick up one rein, and I'm able to move that engine, move that hindquarter out of the way. He starts to take off, I pick up this rein and move that engine. Change that direction of that horse and then let him walk forward. That's the only thing that's going to keep me safe with this bit. So it's extremely important that I recognize that, and that all I'm doing is if he starts to get excited that I'm reaching down on one rein, our first reaction of anybody as he starts to bowl is we pull back on two reins. But we can't do that with this bit because, again, it will just make him smile and we'll lose control. And we need that extra step or 2 steps to get him back under control. So, again, I really want to work on this exercise here and make sure that I really get those hips moving back and forth. Well, everybody asks, where do you put your hand? Well, with this exercise, it really doesn't matter. It's pressure on the bit. The horse doesn't care if it's up, if it's down, if it's by your knee, if it's not. It's important that we don't really care where we put our hand as we're getting the result we want. If I take my hand, though, and I'm pulling it out here, or I'm pulling it down here, then I have no strength. I have no strength out here as much strength as I have up in here. So I want to keep my hands up in this area because, again, this is where I'm balanced the best and where all my strength comes from. If I pull out here, then I'm getting off balance, and if this horse jumps either way, I have a good chance I'm going to fall off. So, again, I ride square up here and bring that nose up here, up towards your belly button, and that's going to help you move that hip over. So don't get in the habit of doing this and trying to lead the horse around out here. Pull it up toward your belly button, and that's going to help push that hip out. Reach down and pick up more pressure, and drive that hip out. So now what we've got is we've got the hips moving both directions. Now what I want to do is I want to start improving that. I want to make that better. Well, how can I improve that? Well, we already got the horse pretty soft on the bit, and we got the hips moving. So now what I want to do is I want to start adding the backup to it. Now this is the only time that you're going to actually have to move your hand around and try to find that spot that allows your horse to back up, because it's like a gear shift in a truck. When it's a gear, we have to find that gear. So as the horse is moving around, I'm gonna pick up the rein, I'm gonna move his hips over, and I'm gonna take his nose right back toward his chest until he starts to lean backwards or back up. Now if you look down at the point of this horse's shoulder, right? I'm gonna turn sideways here for you to see it. Right there. If I look right here, here's the point of the horse's shoulder. Now what I want to do is I want to take my hand right above that and take his nose toward that point, and that's going to allow me to start to get the horse to back up. That's where his nose at. If his nose stays more in front of him, he'll back up easier than getting that nose out here to the side. So that's why after I disengage the hindquarters, I want to take my hand back forward and try to push his head back forward, and that will help me bring him back. So I'll work on that exercise here. So I'll pick the rein up, move the hips over, push his nose back in front of him right there till he starts to back up, and let him go. Again, pick up the rein, move his hips over, push his nose back in front, right there, release it and let go. Again, I want to make sure that I release it when that nose, when he drops into his chest and softens up. Right there, let go and release it. I'll work it on both sides. Same exercise, move the hips over, and then push the nose back in front, right there, and then release it. Walk forward. Pick it up, move the hips over, and then stick the nose back in front, right there. When he softens his nose up, then I'll release it. Go forward, move the hips over, stick his nose back in front, right there, release it and let go. Now again, it's important that I release it when that nose softens up, when that nose goes down, not just waiting for him to release on that backup. So I'll wait here. Right there, release it and let go. I don't want to fight with him. I don't want to keep pulling or keep more. I'm just going to keep steady pressure. Once I have it here, I'm going to hold and just hold steady pressure until his nose softens up right there. A little bit more. Right there, and I'll release it and let go. I'm not going to get in a fight with him. You start pulling more and more, then that's when you can get your horses to start rearing up or hopping up in the front end or get nervous. Just wait. Let him relax, and when his nose gets in there, release it. So as he's going backwards, As he's backing up, I wait until he softens his nose up as he's backing up. So you move your hips over. Right there, release it and let him go. So his right side is his bad side right now. So I'll keep working on this side until it becomes his better side. And then I'll change back to the other side. Forward. Move the hips over. And then back up. Now what's going to happen is the horse realizes that when you let go of the rein is in the backup, not, the hips. So what he's going to start doing is backing up. He'll start backing up and moving the hips less and less. Good. So right now, he had to move his hips a half circle to maybe a full circle. So I pick it up, he moves his hips over 2 steps, and then starts to back up. Right there, release it and let him go. So what's going to happen is he'll start to move it less before he starts to back up. Right there. So pretty soon, now the hips are only taking 1 step before he starts backing up. Now remember, this is the natural progression. You don't want to correct the horse for starting to back up sooner because, again, what he's looking for is that release. And where you've released it every time is in the backup. So he's trying to go to the backup as soon as possible because what his job is he wants you out of his mouth. So that's what he's looking for. So as I'm going forward, I pick up this rein. What's going to end up eventually happening is I'm going to pick up that rein. He's just going to stop and then go straight to the back up. And I'm going to release it. Say, good, that's what I wanted. So I go forward. Say, back up. Go forward. Back up. Now, what if he doesn't go to backing up right away? What if he doesn't go right to backing up? Or what if he stops? What if you pick up this rein here and he just stops, kind of locks up? Then what you have to do is drive him with both legs and drive his hips out. Use both legs on him equally. Drive his hips back out, get his feet moving, then take him back the direction you want him to go. Don't try to pull more pressure, try to pull him back. Get his feet moving, use both legs to do it, and then take him the direction you want him to go. So, we get going, get his feet moving, pick up the rein, stop, and back up, and release it. Go forward, stop, and release it. Go forward, stop, and release it. Go forward, stop, and release it. So I'd keep working that side, and I'd start picking up speed. When we've done it at the walks, then I'd go to the trot. As he's trotting, I want to stop square, pick up the reins, say, hey, get back, back up. And then go forward, pick up the rein, say, back up. So then I'd start picking up speed with it and start doing it at different speeds, working on just stopping square, backing up, stopping square, backing up. After I've taught both sides, then I'd start alternating sides. So as I'm going forward here, I might pick up this side one time and say, hey, back up. Right there, go forward, pick up this side, say back up. Go forward, this side. Go forward. Drive his hips out. And back up. Much better. Go forward. Go forward. Forward. So that is a great exercise to actually teach your horse how to back up, how to stop and back up softer off each rein individually. It also gives me a chance to correct my horse's shoulders as he's backing up. So it's like my horse is the same as my car or my truck. It's got 4 brakes. It's got a right front brake and a left front brake, a right hind brake and a left hind brake. So I have to be able to talk to those individually in order to correct him so that when he doesn't stop correctly, say he stops but he doesn't stop great, that doesn't mean the whole horse stopped bad. That means maybe his right shoulder leaked in the stop. So as he's going forward, I go to stop, his right shoulder leaks forward. I can pick up this rein and say, hey, right shoulder, you didn't stop all the way. Get back here. Go forward, stop. Left shoulder, you didn't stop all the way. Left shoulder, we stop back here. Right there. Go forward. Right shoulder. Right there. Go forward. Left shoulder. Go forward. Right shoulder. So then, when I actually go to add 2 reins, what I have is I have power brakes on my horse. It gives me a lot more faster response and it keeps his head down and soft where I want it. So work on that, keep that really going good, get it soft on both sides, and then we can start putting it together. Okay, now we've covered the hip, shoulder, shoulder exercise where we stopped them off each rein individually and got them backing up. Now we want to put both reins together and really improve our stop. But to do that, we first have to understand what improves our stop. How does that make our stop better? Well, it's like having a dog. And if you tell your dog to sit, then you tell your dog to stay. Why would you tell that dog to stay? Well, because if that dog isn't staying, then he's not sitting. It's not that he's not staying, it's that he's not sitting. Sitting was the first thing I asked him to do. So if he's not sitting anymore, then he's not staying. So it's not that I'm worried about trying to teach that dog how to stay. It's that he's not responding to the sit. Well, I don't have a stop on my horse. I have go or back up. Go forward or back up. That's really important. The time it takes my horse to actually stop and start going backwards is what ruins my stop. That's where you can improve your stop the most, is by taking this time out. So if I go forward, I stop, my horse stops, then I pick up more and say, okay, now back up. That's where my stop gets ruined. Because that time it took me there and that I had to pick up more pressure is what ruins my stop. So I want to take that out of there. So I practice with 2 reins going and backing up. Go, back up. That means I don't want anything stopping on this horse. At any time, I want him either going forward or backing up. And that's going to really improve my stop and make it faster. So what that looks like is this, is I'll work go forward and then back up. Now again, if he doesn't go right to the backing up, I'm going to pick up the rein or I'm going to drive him with my legs and say, hey, I said back up. I want everything moving all the time. So this is an exercise that you wouldn't practice for an hour a day. This is an exercise you practice for about 10 or 15 minutes and do it really hard and really quick. Get a lot of control, a lot of speed, a lot of energy from your horse, and then give him a break and let him quit. So I work on going forward, have him go forward. I'll speed him up a little bit and then back up. Now again, what you want to see on this horse is that nothing stops, that everything keeps moving. So this is what's going to really start helping you get your hind quarter underneath him. So if you watch, you can see him really get underneath him, because what he's thinking, as soon as I pick up those reins, he's thinking back up. He's trying to think get back. And that's what I want him thinking. So I practice doing this. Go forward and back up. Keep everything moving. Everything has to be moving. Nothing stops for even a split second, because again, that's what ruins my stop. So again, go forward. Bring him around here. Go forward. And back up. Go forward. and back up. And back up. Now again, say if he doesn't back up fast enough or right away, I always have the correction of going back to the hindquarter, driving the hip out, and then coming back into the back up. I want to be able to back up on both shoulders. So that exercise we did first allows us to correct those shoulders and say, hey, get those shoulders back. Right there. And forward. And back up. Forward. Back up. Forward. Back up. And back up. So the more I do this, you'll start seeing this hindquarter get deeper and deeper on him and start to actually pedal underneath him. And that would be the start of getting him to understand to start getting down or start getting his hindquarter underneath him when he stops. And get back. Back up. Right there. So I just practice this exercise, just alternating shoulders, use both reins to do it, and go forward. Till I can really get him starting to come back quicker and feel his hindquarter start to get underneath him, and that nothing stops, that everything stays moving on him. I'd keep working on this exercise. Go forward. So that's a great exercise to really start to improve your stop and get that energy back in your stop. And that'll help you to start getting that hindquarter underneath your horse and him using more of his hindquarter. All right, now the next exercise to help our stops, or our sliding stops, to help the horse to start to use his hindquarter, are rollbacks against the fence. We're going to use the fence to help us. Now, it's important that we don't do a rollback like we think a rollback is done. A lot of times what we do is we'll ride down the fence and take the horse and turn him toward the fence just like this, and then change directions. Well, when we do that, what happens is we throw the hip out. So we throw the hip in the wrong position. So if we ride down the fence here, and we just pick up this rein and turn toward the fence, his hip comes way out here where he's not using it, and we change directions. We don't want to do that type of rollback. What we need to do is come off the fence and then bring him toward the fence where he can make this turn and keep his hip behind him all the time. That's so important, is that when we start it, we go off the fence, take him off the fence a little ways, and then take him toward the fence and drive him with both legs toward that fence. A rollback is a forward movement, a forward motion exercise. It's not a stop and back up. It's a forward motion. So we take him off the fence and then take him toward the fence and drive him with our legs and keep forward energy into it. And that's what helps us keep the hindquarter up underneath him. Keeps that drive. There's a couple other things I want to talk about. So again, take him off the fence, go toward the fence, and push him forward. There's a couple of things I want to talk about before we get going, and that's my seat. Now, it's so important that if you look at me sideways here, if I take my seat And when I go to stop and I do this and I hollow out, what I'm doing is I'm hollowing his back out. It's like you take a bunch of pressure on your back and push it into your back, and you do this. You push your chest out, on your stomach out, you hollow your back out. Well, the same thing with that horse. I want to squeeze and sit forward in my stop. Squeeze, sit forward, and push forward into my stop. It's not what you think is normal. So when I stop, what you want to do is think forward and push and squeeze forward, because you're trying to make him move with his front end but lock his hind end up. So when I start these rollbacks, I want to come off the fence quite a ways, as much as I need to, and then drive the horse toward the fence. Just like that. It's important that you're picking up speed out of your rollback, and then that means what happens is he'll start to go into the rollback faster. He'll start to speed up going into the rollback. So how do you get speed going into it is by taking and pushing speed through the rollback. I don't want him to push enough speed that he takes off. I just need him to pick up a little bit faster, and that's what pushes that hindquarter up underneath him. So I take him off and I push him forward and push him into that turn, into that rollback. Then I slow him down, I take him off, and then push him toward that turn and push him forward with my seat. Then I slow him down, take him off the fence a little ways, take him back toward the fence, and drive with both legs toward that fence and push him into that turn. So you can walk that pattern, just like I'm doing here. You can walk it and you can start to feel it right at the bat. So walk the pattern first and get the idea of it, and then start picking up speed. Don't go so quick to hustling to picking up speed. So take them off the fence and then go toward the fence. Now, the other thing is, make sure the fence is helping you make that turn. Sometimes what we do is we do this. We go toward that fence and we ride him all the way through, and then all of a sudden we held on the rein just one step too long, and we're standing over here facing this direction now. We don't want to do that. We want the fence to help us make this turn. That's why you're using the fence. So when I pick up this rein, as soon as he starts thinking about that turn, I'm letting go and driving with my seat, and he'll stay on that fence. But if I pick up this rein and pull him through this turn, and I pull him over here, all of a sudden I'm facing the wrong direction. So it's important, just let him think about that turn. So you pick up this rein. When you start the turn, as soon as he's going to make that turn, release it. Now, if he doesn't make the turn all the way and he stops like this, then just pick it up and finish the turn. Say, no, we're going this direction. So just finish the turn. Don't let him stop halfway, but it's better that he stops like that than it is to pull him all the way through the turn and override your horse. So don't override him. Just as soon as you feel him starting that turn, release it and let him go. As soon as you feel him making that turn, release it and let him go. So now, once I start off coming off the fence and then head toward that rail, once he starts to get that idea, then I can start getting closer and closer to that fence. Because what I'm doing is I'm building his confidence up. I'm building it up, so allowing him, for him to know that he can make that turn this direction with keeping that hindquarter up underneath him. So I'm building his confidence up so I can get closer and closer and closer to that fence. So again, I start off the fence and then drive toward the fence. So now we'll pick up to the trot. Now we'll work the same exercise at a trot. So I'll take him off the fence a little bit and then toward the fence and push him forward. Take him off the fence a little bit, just enough that I know he can make that turn, and then drive him toward the fence. Again, it's not a finished rollback. This is how you're going to start your rollbacks. And you're just going to start pushing toward that fence. That fence is going to help pick him up a little bit. So take him off the fence here, and then push him toward the fence. So here, come off the fence, then push him toward the fence. Take him off a little bit, and then go toward the fence. So here we'll start the lope, take him off, and then go toward the fence. Take him off a little ways, and then go toward the fence. Take him off the fence a little ways, and then go toward the fence. Off the fence a little ways, and then back toward the fence. Off the fence a little ways, and then back toward the fence. So I practice just doing this, just so he gets comfortable with it. Take him off the fence a little ways, back toward the fence. Off the fence a little ways, and back toward the fence. Now, if you notice, he's staying forward. So I'll take him off the fence a little ways. He's staying forward in his turn. You don't see him backing up. You see him staying forward and riding through the turn. So again, I just keep practicing this exercise. Now what's nice about this exercise is you'll start seeing his hindquarter get deeper and deeper. It's getting more underneath him, and I'll keep doing it. And then, say I'm going to ask him to turn, so I'll start to turn, but I won't finish the turn. I'll just start it, but he's thinking turn, and that's going to help him drive his hindquarter underneath him. Then I'll stop and let him stop here. So I'm using that rollback from doing the change of direction so many times. He's thinking we're going to turn, but this time I just don't finish the turn. I just start the turn, then I say, okay, no, that's all I wanted. And then I get the hindquarter up underneath him. So what we'll do is I'll do that a couple more times and show you that. I'll do about 3-4 rollbacks, and then I'll start to pick up speed, start the turn, but don't let him finish the turn, and allow him to stop and rest here. So let's do that again. So I come back, start it, pick up the left lead. I'll do a couple of them till we get them back in set. Now this time I'm going to start it, but not finish it. And then let him stop. Again, just start it, let him finish it. Now you can see him, he'll start to stick his hindquarter. Even though he popped out of it, he starts to stick his hindquarter, then I let him quit. So after I do get a real good one, and say he doesn't stop correctly, he doesn't stop all the way the way I want him to, then I'll just go right back to it. I'll go ahead and won't let him stop, pick up the reins and drive him and go right back to it. So I'll come out here. So I'll try it again. And then let him stop right there. Keep him down, and I'll soften up and then let him quit. So again, I only do it for about 5, 10, 15 minutes tops as I'm doing that, just to get him to really start to understand it. There's 3 things that make up a sliding stop. The first one is the horse has to know he's going to stop, where the repetition with the turns told him he was going to stop. He was going to stop going that way and go that way. The second thing that makes a sliding stop is that the horse has to pick up speed as he stops. And that's what keeps that drive in that hindquarter. It's like your car, you know, when you're getting on the freeway, as you're picking up speed to get up to that speed, the speed limit, you can feel the impulsion pushing you in the back of the seat. But then once you hit the 65 miles an hour, all of a sudden you don't feel that same impulsion. And that's the same with that horse, is I need to feel that impulsion as I stop him and shut him down. And that's what helps keep that drive and keep that hindquarter up underneath him. The third thing that makes that slide is that the rider is thinking forward in the seat, that you're not hollowing his back out, that you're actually pushing forward and sitting up in your seat and pushing him into a stop. The sliding stop came from calf roping. The steer told him he was going to stop, or when he threw the rope, told him he was going to stop. He was always picking up speed before he stopped, and the rider was getting up and out of that saddle as the horse was stopping. So those three things were happening in calf roping to make that slide, and that's where that sliding stop came from. Now we've just learned how to make it better and learn how to make it longer. So those three things I want to focus on while I'm here. Again, this is the exercise I keep playing with and I keep working off and on. If your horse starts to anticipate the change of directions, that means he starts to turn in the same spots all the time, then what will happen is he'll start to anticipate that change and start to stop earlier. So sometimes I'll stop him earlier here because I know he's going to want to stop over here. So let's do it one more time. So I'll pick up the right lead, pick up speed, and bring him back. And I'll just keep pushing a little more each time, make him do a little faster. This time, right there, he started to run through a little bit, so I'll turn around and make him come all the way to this side. And then let him stop. If he starts to run through it, then I'll just go ahead and finish making that turn and have him go ahead and finish it, come through it, and then do it again down here. So if I go to stop him, I'm giving him a chance to stop down there. But he started to run through a little bit, so what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and make him go ahead and make that turn, come back down here and do it again. So that's a fun exercise you can play with and really get the hindquarter coming down or underneath your horse and get him to understand how to start stopping. Again, it's not the horse doesn't want to stop, it's that the horse gets nervous or excited when he starts picking up speed and he doesn't know that he can stop. So he gets nervous of us picking up that bit or pulling on that bit or going to kick him. He gets nervous from that. So by doing this exercise long enough, pretty soon you start thinking stop and he'll start quitting on you. He'll start making a nice easy turn and stopping. So it's a fun exercise to play with to really start improving your horse's stop and getting your horse's hindquarter to start coming down underneath him. So I hope you enjoy that one and have fun with it. Remember, 5, 10, 15 minutes. Really kind of get them going, then stop, give them a break. Because when they start getting tired, and they start getting too tired, then what's happens is they get lazy, they don't have enough energy with the hindquarter, and they start to stretch out themselves. So then you're actually teaching more bad habits than good. So 5, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. If your horse is in really good shape, give him a break, and then do it again later. All right? So enjoy that one. Okay, for our last exercise to help you start your sliding stops, we're going to do some trot extensions. Now, what this allows you to do is keep the front end moving as the hindquarter stops. Now, what's nice about this exercise is only 2 corrections. If the horse doesn't stop all the way, or stop and he wants to go through that stop, then what we do is we back him up. So there's only 2 corrections during this exercise. That's one of them. The other one is if he stops bad, to ask, go ahead and keep him going. So if he stops bad, then I'm gonna go ahead and drive him right out and keep him going. The goal of this exercise is to watch his shoulders and watch his withers here and make sure that they keep moving, that his forward body keeps moving, okay? So we've done the rollbacks, we started the rollbacks, we've done the hip, shoulder work to get him to start backing up. We've done the serpentine work. So now what we want to do is take his trot, start to extend it out, and stop him. But keep him going forward. So instantly drive him right back forward. So don't let him stop all the way. Go forward, speed him up, and then drive him right back forward. So again, if he doesn't stop correctly, like I'll show you here. Say I drive him forward, I extend him out here, and I go to stop, and he doesn't stop all the way, then I'm gonna back him up and say, no, you missed it. I said stop back here. And then I'm gonna go right back forward, extend him out, and then stop, and then go right back into it. Again, I wanna keep that front end moving, and that's what keeps my slide and starts to lengthen up my slide. It starts to put length in my slide because those front feet start to learn how to walk and keep going instead of pulling back and stopping those shoulders right away. If I pull back and stop those shoulders right away, I'll get the hindquarter deeper, but I don't get any length in my slide. So it's important to keep the forward energy in my stop and keep him going forward. So this is an exercise you want to be real careful with because it doesn't take any time at all before, if you do it wrong, it doesn't take any time at all to teach him not to stop and kind of run right through that bit. So you have to feel him really want to stop. So when I'm doing this, I want to feel him really want to stop, or I'm going to back him up and say, no, get back, stop back here. So it's really important that when you're doing this, that you have to feel him want to stop. If he doesn't, then back him up. So go forward, get a nice trot, start to extend him out. Extend him out. No. If he breaks into lope, slow him right back down. Turn him. Extend him out a little bit. Oh. And then go right back forward. So all I want to do is I want to feel him stop, and I want to take him right back forward. So extend him out. Oh. And then go right back forward. So again, extend him out. Oh. Again, if he doesn't stop, then I'm going to back him up and say, no, you missed your chance. You should have stopped back there. And go trot him again. Extend him out. And then go right back forward. Again, if he stops good and he doesn't jump right back forward, I want to make it real easy on him. Say, just ease him right back forward. So extend him out. And then ease him back forward. So there he slid a little too deep with his hindquarter. He used too much of it. So, but I wouldn't want to, correct him for that, because again, he tried. He just didn't do exactly the way I wanted him to do it. So go forward, and don't forget, right now is a good time that you can start saying ho. So speed him up, and say ho, and then go right back forward. So now is a good time to start introducing the word ho to him, because you can back it up with these reins. You can back it up and say ho and stop him, and then go right back forward. Pretty soon what you'll have is you'll be able to take the reins as you're going, extend them out, and then say ho, and he'll understand that means stop. And you can back him up, say you can stop better than that. Go forward. We'll go ahead, extend them out a little bit, right here. Ho. And then let them stop and go right back forward. Soften them up. Get them set with where we want them. Speed them up. Ho. And then right back forward. So again, that's a good place for me to start to introduce the word ho to them. in this exercise. Now you're gonna have to do a lot of extending them out and then maybe backing them up and say, hey, stop, don't forget to stop, and then take them right back forward. Go forward, back them up, say, hey, don't forget to stop, and go forward. Now, ho. Don't forget to stop and go forward. No, don't lope. No, don't lope. Good. And bring your shoulder back and go forward. So this next exercise, you can start playing with those trot extensions. Extend that trot out. Oh. And back them up. Extend them out. Oh. So, and then when you get a nice stop, the way you like, the front end moves the way you want, let him stop and take a break. Let him breathe, relax, learn he can relax in this position here. And let him stand and catch his breath. So that's a fun exercise. It also will really help you start to lengthen your slide and get that front end moving through your stop. So, and remember, be careful with it as far as make sure that you feel that horse want to stop. If he doesn't want to stop, then you're going to have to stop him and back him up. But if he stops badly, then just push him through the stop and say, no, that wasn't good enough, don't stop yet, and then stop him again. And so remember, there's only two corrections. Back him up if he doesn't stop. If he stops badly, drive him through it harder. So don't let him stop and move him forward quicker. Ho. Well, I hope you enjoy this tape. We for sure enjoyed making it for you. Remember, when you're doing these slides, make sure you put protective boots on their hind legs to protect them. If you don't, and they get in the ground like, what they're doing, they're getting that ground, they'll burn their hocks, and it'll hurt. Therefore, make them more tentative to get in the ground the next time. So remember, look for tape part 2 on sliding stops, and we'll show you how to actually lengthen your slide and how to make it a better and longer slide. So until next time, take care, and may all your rides be good ones.